the financier was Jewish?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't care that they're Jewish though. Like, why is that like such a fucking thing? Dude, I don't know. When I hear this shit, it's just it's exhausting. It's
I
exhausting.
know, I know. I'm not going to exhaust you. I'm not going to exhaust you. I don't want you wheezing over there.
Uh,
I gotta
Let
go
me
anyway.
ask
I
you
need
a
to poop.
question. Is there anything that you can attribute being bad to someone that's not Jewish?
Yeah.
Give me an example.
Are you talking about like a group of people that came together to organize themselves and do something bad?
No, I'm saying just like you said, Jeffrey Epstein was Jewish. Like,
I don't
can you
really.
name
Yeah, I don't. Was it
someone that's
Jeffrey
bad? That's
Epstein wasn't.
another race.
Jeffrey Epstein isn't bad because simply because he's Jewish. Jeffrey Epstein is bad
That
because he's
wasn't my question. That
organized.
wasn't my question.
Yeah.
You're doing a really bad
Okay.
job at
Well,
following this thought experiment. It may be a CPU
well,
problem. We'll
well.
try
No,
it
I'm
again.
trying to. So I want you to. I want you to
You're trying
understand
to
what the actual
anticipate
criticism
my
is.
line of questioning and you're failing.
No,
So,
I'm not trying to. I'm
so
not
I'm
trying
so
to
okay,
anticipate your
great. So
line of
just
questioning.
answer the
I want you to.
goddamn question then. So my question is, give me an example
Well,
of
so I'm.
something another race or group of people have done
Mhm,
or person that's another race has done that's bad.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, give me an
I'm
example.
not giving an example of. I'm not giving an example of things the Jewish race has done. There's a specific
I
set
know,
of
but
people in a. There's a.
but you brought up, hey, Jeffrey Epstein is Jewish, right?
Yeah, I was being conceited, is what
So
we
I'm
call it. I was
saying,
being funny.
great. So can you name something that was bad that was done by someone who was not Jewish?
Yeah, but you can't attribute that to
Give me
anybody's
an
race.
example. Give me an example.
Well, do you want me to give you an example of an individual a bad person
Yeah,
or
yeah. I
like a
want you to
group
give
of
me an
bad people?
example of an individual non-Jewish
Jeffrey
person
Jeffrey
who,
Dahmer.
okay, great, Jeffrey Dahmer. What race is Jeffrey Dahmer?
I don't know. Scotch Irish.
Okay, great. Let's go with white. Because you just named
The
two
white isn't a
ethnicities.
race.
You just named two ethnicities slash
White isn't a race.
nationalities. So let's go with white.
White isn't a race.
It actually is.
White isn't a race.
No, it
No, it's
actually
not.
is. Yeah, but it
Okay,
actually is.
where's white from?
It's a
Where's white
taxonomic
from?
bound. It's a taxonomic boundary that we created
Mm-hmm.
to distinguish certain
Mm-hmm.
groups of people from other groups of people. It is
Mm-hmm. Okay.
uh, a race. Anyway, it's different
So
than ethnicity. But anyway,
are
before you
are
argue,
Greeks
listen,
white?
before you're wrong about that, let me let you be wrong about something else. So
Uh-huh.
Jeffrey Dahmer is white, and he
Mm-hmm.
did something bad. Now, is it true or false that there are far more people who look like Jeffrey Dahmer that have done bad things than there are people that look like Jeffrey Epstein that have done bad things? Simply
How would
because,
I be how would I how would I be able to
well,
confirm that?
because I believe you can do math. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that there are many more people that look like
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Dahmer. So, by virtue of
Mm-hmm.
there simply being more of them, it would stand
Mm-hmm.
to reason that they have done more bad things, whatever you think bad means.
Okay. So when we say bad things, does that like include yelling or
I
like
just
just
said
like
it's
is
whatever
when we
you
say
think it
bad things
means.
okay, well
It's
I'm gonna
whatever
say
you
bad
think it
things is
means.
I'm gonna say bad things is well sure if we say bad things we can chalk it down to like not drinking water like Muslims, you know, like what Muslims say drinking water is a good
Great.
deed which can bring you to
So
heaven.
now that we've
So
That's just a lot of
established
yeah,
water.
that,
so
great. So now that we've established that there are far more whites and Asians and Arabics that have done bad things than there are Jews, now let's ask the
mhm.
question why so many low IQ people only focus on the Jews doing bad things and then try to act as if they are somehow acting in unison as a cabal to do those bad things.
Well, so if we look at the case of Soviet Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution, that's objectively true. The Bolshevik Revolution that overthrew and killed the King of Russia and took over the country, killed millions of people, was primarily Jewish. Of the 400 something That the
What
400 something
race was the
politicians
American Revolution?
um, the German Revolution was
I
British,
said the
German,
American. I
Dutch,
said what race was the American Revolution?
British, German, Dutch,
Right.
French,
What race
and
was
also
the
some
what
Russian.
race was the Maoist Revolution, which killed far more people than anyone in history?
Chinese,
Yeah,
like
amazing.
with a
So so
with a
Jew so Jews
bracket
are
X.
a blink of the eye in history in terms of who's done what kind of killing. So again, my question
Well,
remains:
so my
why
point
do we
is that what's
focus
the
on the
so
Jews?
if we're going to talk about numbers and statistics, so let's say that
Notice
the
how he doesn't
takeover of
want to
Russia
answer about the
was.
Chinese, by the way. No, everybody pay attention to
I
that.
already answered I already answered the
No,
Chinese. So
I
you
ask
can't
you
really
why
you
we're
can't know
paying attention to the not why aren't we paying why aren't you talking about the Chinese?
what are you talking about?
Why are you pointing
Why I'm paying
out
attention to the Chinese? Because
the
because the
bad things that Jewish people did when they are one of the
mhm.
smallest minorities on the planet to have done any of these bad
So
things?
by the way, you do know that the Chinese do you know that the Jews are actually responsible for the opium that was being shipped in? It was about 90% of the opium that was being shipped to China was from Jewish trading families. So
Yeah,
the
the
Chinese
same
also had
way
their
that the
issues with
crack was the whites were
the.
responsible for the crack all you blacks were sucking down in the 90s. Sure. Anyway, so back to reality and out of Narnia. Um, I just need you to answer the
Hmm.
question
What do
why
you
it
mean out of Narnia?
is
It's literally true. There
why
were only
is it
there was one major
yeah,
Jew there was one major Jewish family that was supplying 90% of the opium to China. That's
why
true. That's
is
a true
it
statement.
that every single thing that you can point at, I can point at other groups doing more of and in much larger numbers?
I don't think that I have to quantify the magnitude of something for the
Great,
pattern
then
to be
why are
true.
we mentioning the Jews at all? Why don't we just say
Well,
Jeffrey
you know,
Epstein did X? Why do we say Jeffrey Epstein? You know he's a Jew, right? He did X, Y, and
hmm
Z.
yeah. Well, I was being funny because the guy was talking about the Jewish conspiracy, and I
Oh,
was like, okay,
it was a joke. There was no Jewish conspiracy involved. Okay. So you're not as low IQ as I thought. Okay, great. Well, that's funny then. Ha ha ha. I got it now. That's totally
I
better.
don't get it.
No, it's fine. I get it now. I didn't know it was a joke. I thought you were about to go
Well, I
off
told you.
into,
Well,
the USS
told you that
Liberty,
I told
bro,
you.
and the Jews run the nation, and
Well,
Kanye West, and
you notice
banks,
how I
and
didn't bring up USS. You notice how I didn't bring up USS Liberty. I
no, I
specifically brought
did.
up
I
Soviet
just brought it
Russia.
up.
I know you're low IQ, but I specifically brought up the Soviet Union, the Bolshevik Revolution, because the Jews were only 2% of the population and 90% of the government. That's why
Okay.
I did that.
What's your point?
That's so. So, well, what you were talking about. There was only a small amount of there's only a small amount of Jews, more white people. So statistically speaking, that white people have to be committing more crimes or doing more bad things than the Jews. So what I'm trying to tell you is that well, the reason why I might even notice something is because it's a statistical anomaly. That's why the joke is you calling it a noticer because there's statistical anomalies, which is why
So
one would
what you're
be
saying is
interested in
when you
talking.
notice that the smartest people on the planet, Ashkenazi Jews,
Mhm,
happen to be in positions of power in societies that they frequent, you
mhm,
notice
mhm,
that. Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah, smart people do tend to do smart people shit. That's true. I totally agree with you.
mhm. How do we know that Jews are the smartest people in the world?
Because we have IQ tests the same way that we know that blacks have the lowest IQ on the planet. Same way.
That's not true.
Sure. No, it definitely is true.
Okay, sure. We can say Africans have the lowest IQ, like sub-Saharan Africans have the lowest
I mean,
IQ, but
unless you
blacks
just
are a
don't believe
distinct
in
group, the
IQ
same way you say.
tests. No, listen, American blacks are actually at an advantage because most of them have, 20, 30% white in their admixture, which gives them a significant statistical advantage on IQ over
Hmm.
um, their African counterparts. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it's awesome for them. They get
Well,
you
if
know,
that's the interesting thing about that being the case is we can look at let's say Niger I think it's genetic expression. I think that everybody has the capacity to be very stupid or very smart, but there's just not an opportunity for great genetic expression over in Africa.
Unfortunately, there's no reason to think that in biology, there's no reason to think that every life form would have the same potential
I
as
didn't make
every
that.
other.
I didn't make that. I didn't
There's
make
no
that claim.
reason to think that every human would have the same potential as every other human
Yeah,
when it comes
I didn't make that
to
claim. You're
intellectual
attributing
potential.
arguments to you're attributing
Okay,
arguments
great.
to me that I've
Repeat your
never
state.
made.
Okay, great. Repeat your statement.
The there are people have a capacity to be. Everybody has a minimum and a maximum capacity for genetic expression, and the genetic expression of intelligence, and the capacity to express yourself. The capacity to grow your genetic expression for your intelligence in Africa is in the greatest Western countries, which is
Okay,
why we see that if you're,
so
let's say, so we can, that's why we can see if you're someone like a Nigerian immigrant who have the Nigerians in America have the highest amount of PhDs and master's degrees per capita. Now, a big argument for that is that this is selection bias because we're selecting specifically the most intelligent of a specific region. But if that were the case, then everybody from every group should have the same thing. So if there's not um, if the selection bias that we're getting in the country isn't as disparate as Nigerians, that would lead us to believe that it's something more than selection bias.
yeah, so it's definitely selection bias because, of course, we're going to only bring people in that are capable. And as far as why it's disparate amongst different groups, that's going to have to do with those groups that we are choosing to select for. So there are other
Hmm.
factors about which bias
So
we
you're
are
saying,
actually exerting
but you're
over these
basically saying
groups.
you're basically saying when they're smart, you just said that it's because we pick the smart ones, and if they're dumb, it's because we pick the dumb ones. So if they're dumb, it's selection bias.
No,
If
if
they're
they're
smart,
dumb,
it's
we don't
selection
bring them
bias.
into. No, listen, let me help you out. If they're dumb, we don't bring them into the country.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
But we
that's the
bring in
simple
a
answer.
bunch of dumb people. We bring in a bunch of dumb people into the country. The quality control to bring immigrants into the country hasn't been serious since the
Yeah,
50s, the
that's
60s.
not what I'm talking
So,
about. I'm talking. Listen, I'm not talking about Juan and Jorge who get over here on a fucking donkey. Okay, I'm talking
hmm
about people who have to cross an ocean to get here, who
hmm
have to go through
hmm
the immigration process, who have to have a very specific type of visa to be here. Okay, so the ones that we are selecting to come from Africa, we are just much more choosy about,
no, we're
which
not.
means the ones that end up here are actually really intelligent, very useful individuals. More often than not,
That's
this
not
is
true.
true.
We don't. So
Um,
our quality control for Africans isn't very good. It's the same for any other country. I mean, I used to work in immigration. This is what I did for several years of my life with Southeast Asians, Africans, and Mexicans. And I helped these people get their papers and so forth and so on.
Again, I'm
And
saying specifically for certain types of visas. I don't know if you're not hearing me or what, but
we did all visas.
well,
And so most
there's
people, and
only
so
there's
most of
only
the guys,
two visas that are going to allow you to get over here as not being a
yeah, that's
retard.
no, no. There's also visitors visas, student visas, which people overstay all the time.
Yeah, I said, oh my God, I said there's only two that are going to allow you to come over here not being a retard. Anyway,
You
so
can come over here and be, you can come over here as a visitor and be retarded.
I know, I got it. This dude, it's not computing for him. Like it's a processing problem. Look, I'm not even going to repeat it for a third time. It's not worth it. Yeah. So either you believe in IQ or you don't. Most people who end up on the low end of the spectrum racially tend not to because it's more convenient. If you don't, that's fine. I don't care. Um, we clearly see that there's a difference. Humans are not blank slates. Humans have potential in groups, out of groups, within the same socioeconomic class, in the same country, in the same classroom, going to the same private schools and having the same teachers. You still have some kids that are a 100 IQ and other kids that are a 130 IQ. So uh, humans are just vary because that's how biology works. And it just happens that when you cluster certain groups together, we see an average evolve out of that group. and that average for Africans is very low. Okay, so you're just gonna have
That
to accept
motherfucker just
that, dog.
left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
That
would leave too.
motherfucker bounced. He bounced.
Maybe he got disconnected or something. I don't know. They don't like it. They don't. They don't. They do not like the IQ argument at all. It's the one thing that they just cannot rebut. And I'll tell you why it hurts their feelings, because they buy into the science so much, right? They're all the time like, science, bro, science, science. I believe in science. Well, IQ science. So, you know, can't have it both ways.
What the fuck is this? Senate Democrats revolt against DHS funding bill. Oh yeah, because of the shit in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and I
They're gonna
guarantee you
shut
that
the
bill
government down
has
again.
the money for body cams in it. Yeah. Exactly like I said.
Yeah.
Yep. Told you. I said it 2 days ago. They were gonna buck it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna shut the government down over it.
So now there won't
Wait till the
be.
government is.
Yeah. Now there won't be any
Huh?
body cams. And what are they gonna do? Yeah. Told you. What is their reasoning for refusing this bill?
January 30th is the deadline.
Are we in another government shutdown?
I don't know. It might. Here, I'll just send you the link to this shit. You know, it's Fox News.
Be very curious what their demands are.
There it is in the side chat.
All right, 1 second.
Well, they just want to fucking fuck around on the DHS funding.
Well, it's better for
course
them.
they
It's
do.
better for them if they don't have body cams. That way they can keep screaming anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, and I mean, it's gonna benefit everybody, right? It's gonna benefit the fucking ICE agents most of the time.
Oh my god, got shot 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it probably won't benefit them, but most of the time it will.
Did you watch that? Didn't make that look. That video?
Yeah.
It looked like it,
What? The cop on the left? Oh yeah, he was shooting him too.
and he was down.
Yeah, but I mean, the more I watched it and the different angles, it's all he's got to say is he thought that. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
there's a
got-
lot of things that he can. I mean, he's got a
At the
defense.
end
That's
of
my
the day,
point. I don't go sit here and
Tim
speculate.
Walz for all of it. He's sending his people there.
I mean, the thing is, that's an armed suspect that is
Yeah.
fighting with the police, and that guy in green. I almost guarantee you, but watching it in slow motion, when that guy in green turned around after dealing with that other retard, and you see him slipping and sliding all over the fucking ice, and those whistles going off and shit. I guarantee you he didn't know that the guy in gray had already taken the pistol. And he just looked
Or
down and seen a holster, and when they hollered
He
hollered gun. So I mean, if you got a
I
gun
bet
in your
you're
hand
right.
and
I
you're
bet the
resisting,
whistle-
you're going to get shot. And I guarantee you he thought he had it in his hand. So
Listen, can you imagine those whistles and then fucking you just hear, wow, and all the fucking cops start scattering off the dude? That's gonna cause you to react by fucking retaliating. I mean, you're gonna shoot back. If I fucking all I could hear is whistles, 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 and then boom, and all my fucking buddies ran off, and there's the bad guy. I'm fucking shooting the bad guy.
true. Yeah.
That's all. What else do you do? I mean, besides turn around and run, you either get a run or you get a shoot back, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Guess that's your only fucking choices.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just comes down to what I said. If you don't want to get shot, stop fucking showing up and showing up with pistols and resisting ICE. Like, it's simple.
Dude, my mom fucking texted me a little while ago, and she, like I've told you a bunch of times, she's a toting mama. She's got a gun in her fucking purse, and she was even like, "That motherfucker's asking to get shot. Why is he there with his gun?" Like, what the fuck, dude? Anybody with a brain, why the fuck did you go there with a gun? You're dumb.
My guy, I'm gonna watch this video real quick. Actually, I could stream it. See what he says here. Ain't nobody else in here, so. Let me see.
What the fuck?
Yeah, let me see if I can bring this up.
I mean, dude, I already knew this before. A blackout's alright, bro. That fucking guy, the more I've heard him talk about shit, he's just down to earth. Just says it out. I can't understand how the fuck him and Havoc are the only two people that own the server, right?